Cool, so I thought I'd do a video tonight on BB30s, especially the Cannondale BB30 and why people have issues with them with the creaking. I have issues with all bottom brackets creaking, ISIS, Square Taper, Octolink, Holotech, FSA, Gossamers, all those sort of things. They all creak, it's mechanical, it's two metallic surfaces moving around as you pedal, so they are going to creak eventually. But what we're focusing on today is the BB30, which is that there. Basically, the Cannondales are renowned for ruining BB30 and they often creak. But I see a lot of people having problems with bottom brackets creaking, thinking it's the bottom bracket, when a lot of the time it's the spider, which if you got one of these, this is the old style one, but the new one's obviously all black. Basically, they have a removable spider, spider being the 5-pointed star thing there. It comes off, and I'll show you in a bit how I rectify the creak. And 9 times out of 10, the creak comes from the spider, not the bottom bracket. But the bottom brackets do creak from time to time, and this is what I've done to my current one, which is this. I've simply removed the bottom bracket bearings using a part tool. Make sure you use a bottom bracket BB30 tool. Reason being is it drives the bearing out square. Don't tap it from side to side. I mean, you can do, it's your bike. Do what you wish, but ideally you want it to drift the bearings out nice and square. Especially if you want to reuse them. These are ceramic speed bearings, so I don't really want to damage them because they're not exactly cheap. I'll take the bearings out, I've cleaned them, and then I've applied some Loctite solution, which is this stuff. It's the 242 thread locker. It's basically like a blue compound. It's designed to hold threads in, stop them vibrating loose, but also you can apply it to the bearing surface. You can also use stronger stuff like the Loctite 603, I think it is, like a green compound, but I like to use a blue one because it's more of like a void filler as well, and it does hold the bearing in, and it creates like a bearing itself, like between the two surfaces, and stops any kind of creaking and kind of metallic row. Grease does work, but if grease does fail, then obviously you can go to the Loctite stuff, which I find does work. So that's what I've done. I've cleaned the surfaces, pushed the bearing back in using that, and next job is to sort out the spider. Okay, so first things first is you want to remove this here ring that holds the spider on. To do that, you need a Cannondale lock ring tool. They're not the cheapest things, and they tend to be quite hard to get hold of sometimes. I think they only make them in small numbers. But grab yourself one of these and remove your spider ring. The way I take them off is I put this in the vise. In fact, I'll show you. Okay, so you don't have to do this. If you haven't got a vise, you can obviously use a socket, or it has got a hexagonal part on the bottom, so you can use a big wrench. But I like to put it in the vise just because it gives a bit more stability. So put that in place. And then you can just grab hold of it. Obviously, mind your fingers from the spider. Mind your fingers from the chainring teeth, because they can cut you up quite bad. Make sure your hands are nice and tucked out of the way. Then what I do is push the crank like so. If you've got the newer spiders or the newer cranks, they're obviously black, and the actual spider lock ring is machined away. But essentially, it still is what you're taking off. The new ones are kind of machined away to make them lighter, but that is basically what you're removing, and it's the same tool, so I get kind of baffled if yours looks different to mine. So once that's taken off, all you do is pop your spider off, like so, and then we clean it up. As you can see, I've already used my little tip. I'm just showing you now for illustration purposes. See that blue stuff around there? That's the Loctite that I put on previously. So basically what I'm going to do is clean these surfaces up, so nice and spick and span, and then reapply it using the Loctite 242. Good. Okay, so once all your parts are clean and you're happy with what you've done, what you want to do is take your Loctite solution, give it a good shake, and then just liberally apply this to the surfaces. Just wax around the spider ring here. That's all I'm going to do, to be fair. I'm not going to put anywhere else. Like that. And then put your spider ring assembly Back on the crank, making sure your little chain catcher there is in line with your crank. And push it back together. Wipe off the excess. I found the new ones actually go better. I found the new ones go together better than the older ones. The older ones seem to be a bit more of a snugger fit. The new ones seem to slap on a little bit easier. Probably why they have more creaking issues. Then take your lock ring, put your lock ring back on, tighten it up, and do everything in reverse. Now these need torquing up to about 40 Newton meters. You can do this by putting the tool onto your torque wrench, holding it steadily, and then cranking up. But the crank can move around, and you can have issues, especially losing knuckle skin as you slam down on this. So what I recommend is you hold this in a vise, which I'll show you how I do that. Basically cover the vice jaws up with something soft. Now I'm not actually going to clamp the crank in here hard. I'm literally looking to see that I'm just dropping it down. So it's supported, but it's not putting pressure on the crank. The reason being is I don't want to mar the surface, like put any teeth mark from the vise into the surface by pushing through here. All I'm trying to do is stop this from rotating, so it's just literally just holding on to it. Okay, so you got your torque wrench. Make sure it's set to 40 Newton meters. Put your tool on the end. And crank it up. So basically just trying to get the pressure on nice and steady until you hear the click. You excited? Oh, she goes. Right, so that's your 40 Newton meters clamped in there. I recommend you don't take your bike out now and ride it. You want the Loctite set. You see there, it's kind of like leaking out everywhere. So just give that a bit of a clean. Okay, that's all done. All I've got to do now is reassemble it, and she's good to go. Okay, so it's pretty important when you put the crank assembly back together, you use some grease. I see quite a lot of people sticking these cranks in dry. We're not talking about your mum here, so do put some lube on there. Not a lot, you just want to put some on the axle, stick some around the seals, put it back together, clean off the excess, and you're good to go, okay? So, if you're watching this video and you've got the newer style cranks, don't freak out thinking I'm doing this wrong. The older style cranks go together in the reverse. So basically see, where's it go? Just there. It's got a little ridge on the axle. That means the axle has to go in this way only. But these ones are different. So you have the actual spring washer on this side. Not on to the. There we go. Alrighty. So just like with the Spider, make sure you torque these up to 40 Newton meters, or between 34 and 41 Newton meters. Okay. And that's it, you're good to go. Sweet, so that's done. Hopefully that's helped you out with some problems with your creaky bottom bracket. If not, drop me a line down below and I'll see if I can help you a bit further. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, that little fix does work. I'll see you down the road. Post any comments, criticisms down below. Give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.